because you had the light turned off and they could have killed you too type of horror.
Yeah.
It's really scary. It's really scary. I wish you hadn't reminded me about the fact that they did the Humans Can Look Too, because the Humans Can Look Too one scares the hell out of me.
Yes. Oh gosh.
But they definitely did that. I forget when, but...
I recently rewatched the episode that's in, and I'm sharing her with my sister right now, so...
It's my least favorite part. It's in, I want to say, season 6 or 7.
Yeah, either way, the light was turned off while I was watching it, because my sister, my roommate, was asleep. I just realized that, oh, shoot. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna go to the other room and die. Thank you.
We're gonna move on from this, and I'm gonna ask you for a low light and a highlight, so your least favorite and your favorite part of the episode.
The highlight is actually where we find the dead body of Taylor and the blood on the wall.
I mean, yeah, that was almost my highlight too. I really liked that.
It is like so creepy, and it's very well done. And low light, I find romantic subplots on this show just like really awkward to watch. So the whole thing with Sam and Laurie just was my low light.
My low light was Sam and Laurie's kiss. Sam was just so clearly not into it, and Laurie was clearly like lonely and scared and just in need of comfort, and like they don't know anything about one another, so they're not even like a good match. They have nothing in common. Sam didn't even like hug her back when she was crying. Like, it was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This was less comfortable than Andrea and Dean in Dead in the Water. In front of her kid. Like, this was less comfy than that. My highlight was all the cops running out of the precinct at the same time to not arrest the Winchesters. I like slow motion running.
I mean, it's pretty cool to watch.
They're just running in sync, and I like that. Mental health check. I'm not a psychologist, so this segment is purely based on my own opinions and a weekly reminder that if you're struggling with anything at all, please reach out to a professional for help. This week was okay, I get almost regarding mental health. I think Sam's still grieving, but he wasn't filled with anger. He wasn't expressing a ton of regret about no longer being a college student, which I found really surprising. He didn't yell at anyone unnecessarily. So, I mean, I think he's okay. Like, not great, but fine.
He mostly just seems sad, I think.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Dean was fine. Dean was in a really good mood this whole episode, except for being a little bit grumpy about digging a grave on his own and a little pushy about trying to get his brother to date again, even though he just had a traumatic dating experience.
Yeah. So mental health, we aren't bad.
Not bad this week. It's really weird to see Dean in such a good mood, honestly.
What happened, Dean?
No soul transactions this week, so to finish off this week's episode, we have a line of the week. So, Meredith, what did you pick for your line of the week?
Probably the Are you glad you didn't turn on the light? Because, as I said, it's creepy and it's great. And I'm counting it as a line because it was written down.
That's fair. Mine is when they were getting arrested and Dean was like, he had the gun. When they're being arrested for having a shotgun pointed at a police officer.
Oh, that was so funny. Oh, crap. I just saw a whole bunch of notes that I forgot about.
Oh. Tell us.
I actually had a whole bunch of notes written down about Laurie and about her as a character. Like,
okay, yeah, we can throw in an extra section this week.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Extra section, Laurie as a character.
Well, it was just about, like, Laurie and her whole situation kind of hit a bit close to home with me. And because, you know, she was raised in a very religious setting, and it's very different from the way I was raised, just to put that out there.
Yes.
But, like, her struggle to, I guess, fit in with her classmates while trying to sort of try to keep the values she was raised with, or, I guess, kind of reevaluate them, is something that a lot of religious kids really experience.
Yeah, even if you do decide you want to continue in the religion that you're raised in, like, you still have to reconcile that with the outside world that does not.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, a lot of kids that I've grown up with, and actually even me sometimes, you know, you go through this phase where you're just, like, kind of judging everyone around you, and you're like, why don't they have the same values as me? Like, how did this happen? How are they still good people?
Yeah, and, like, that's and that's not really fair to the other people, but, like, it's kind of natural.
Yeah, and it's something, it's one of those, like, awkward teenage things that you have to get past. And I thought it was very interesting seeing that with Laurie. You know, a lot of kids go through something similar where you're wondering, like, hey, what would my parents think? And do I really want to do this? And am I comfortable with it? But with us, it's also like, well, what would Heavenly Father think?
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I'm from a non-religious household. I've said that before. But, like, yeah, I still have that. I still have to reconcile what my parents expect of the child that they raised versus who I want to be as a person. And what they think and what I think is often different in a lot of areas. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's a part of growing up. And it's always very difficult. And
No, I'm totally glad that you brought that up, especially because Lori does have this extra religious expectation of her. Like, and we see it, honestly, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but with the boy Murph, the purple one, where he's sexualizing her because she's a preacher's daughter. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Like, it's like a thing that's, like, fetishized and stuff, and, like, that's gross.
Oh, man, and the part where Taylor is encouraging her to reveal more of her body when she's dressing up, and I really related to that, because, like, my religion, there's, like, certain standards of modesty, and I've always dressed a certain way because of it.
Yeah, totally.
There's that, like, the peer pressure is very interesting to see, like, represented on a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, am I going to be surprised if Lori threw religion out of her life after this experience? I mean, no, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But if she does stick with it, I mean, good for her. That's her choice, too.
Yeah, that would be really difficult after this experience. And I mean, especially with her dad, the one who's taught her everything, having an affair with a married woman, like, it would be really difficult to stick with the religion after that.
Yeah, I mean, she's already going through a bit of a crisis of faith, and then, you know, ghosts existing throws a little wrench into the texts that, like, there's some denomination of Catholic or Christian, right? From what we could tell.
Maybe Protestant, I guess.
Hard to tell. I don't know which one has a reverend, but...
Neither do I. I think it's Protestant, actually.
But it's some Christian denomination of religion. And I'm pretty sure ghosts don't super jive with that unless they're Jesus, so...
Jesus isn't a ghost, though.
No, he's not. I know. I do know.
Okay, I was just like, wait, I've never heard that before.
But, you know, once people are dead, they're supposed to, you know, stay that way.
Well, I've always grown up believing in ghosts, and it is part of my religion. I just don't know if there are Christian denominations that don't believe in ghosts.
I feel like some of them struggle with, like, because, you know, once you die, you either go one way or the other, and a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works, but, you know, I believe in it.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I feel like this whole thing was a struggle for her.
Oh, poor Lori. She deserves better.
No, I'm glad we went on this little segue to talk about it. I do think that, like, anytime we see the boys interacting with someone who's religious, or with a group of people who's religious, or the monster of the week is tied to biblical symbolism or anything like that, I do think it's important to talk about that aspect.
Yeah.
It becomes a lot easier, like, post season 4. But even in the early seasons, some of the best episodes deal with how the boys view religion and, like, their worldviews and stuff like that.
It's always really interesting to see that. And also, I did really enjoy that neither Lori or her dad were, like, creepy religious fanatics. I'm always so happy when I don't see those on TV.
Yeah, I mean, we had Jacob Carnes for that.
Exactly.
One was good. Lori's dad was a little bit judgmental of the people that she lived with, but...
Yeah. They're not like a fanatic, but he was pretty judgmental. But you do see that.
He was pretty judgmental,
so much in church.
He didn't murder anyone. He just wasn't super... I mean, he was faithful. His wife's dead, but he wasn't helping another woman be faithful. He wasn't doing her marriage any favors.
And adultery is a pretty major sin in Christianity, so that was a screw up, my dude.
Anyway, glad we talked about Lori. Do you want to give your social medias, or do you have more to say about Lori? Or anything else, I guess. I'm going to have to add us in a section, other things, when we get to the end. Just going forward. Just in case we miss things.
I have a note that says man door, hand hook, car door. That's about it from that meme.
Oh my god.
Other than that, I'm good. I can give my social media.
Yeah, tell the people where they can find you.
Alright, okay, so I am Shades of Dianira at Tumblr and Instagram, and if you go there, you can see lots of drawings about the book I'm writing.
Amazing!
Yay!
I've been KJ. You can find me on all the social media platforms at Life Messes of KJ. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, you can contact me directly, or you can reach out through the podcast social media. You can find the podcast and email us at supernaturalopinionspodcast@gmail.com, at SPNOpinionspod on Twitter, Supernatural Opinions Podcast on Facebook, and at Supernatural Opinions Pod on Instagram, and Supernatural Opinions Podcast on Tumblr. And if you could subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast, that really helps people to find us. And if you want to hear more of me and my thoughts, you can check out my other podcast, Series of Opinions, available on all the same places as this one. Thank you again to Faith Ebert for our logo. This episode was written, produced, recorded, and edited by me. And special thanks to our guests. And as always, keep fighting and carry on.